Hello, 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 boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Welcome to Coffee, Tea, You and Me with Coach Power and friends. I have got a all-star lineup, guest panels that is backstage right now, chomping at the bit, ready to get into today's topic. Today, we are talking about benefits speak. How do you begin the process of identifying and sharing the benefits that you share to your clients, to your investors, to your referral partners, to anybody that's a stakeholder in your business or in your life. How do you make sure you are sharing the benefits that you offer properly in a way that they can receive those benefits in a way so that you can feel fulfilled and everybody can win? If you are offering stuff, and I have to say this really quickly, if you're offering stuff that's a win-lose proposition, meaning you're gaining and no one else is benefiting, or you're gaining more than others are benefiting from, that's not a good scenario. Also, not a good scenario if you're offering stuff or you're receiving stuff that's a benefit to one, but not a benefit to the other. So, anytime you're going to have a good, optimized benefit relationship with any entity and any aspect of anything, you want to think about how can we both win? What are we both getting out of the situation? Now, I know a lot of you all are employees or are offering services at cost or sometimes even free to the people that you're offering those things to. Here's the thing: there's got to be something that you're getting back from it. There's got to be something that you're reaping some kind of return on your investment. Doesn't always have to be financially. Sometimes that time, talent, and treasure that other people are pouring back into you are well worth the contribution that you're going to make. Now, over the series, we're going to talk about every aspect of how you might want to identify the benefits that you share, the benefits that you need to receive, and how you can achieve all those ideas and concepts together to create even more benefits that sort of flow outside of any relationship that you would have, but move into the universe, move into the space, the communities and the spaces that you exist in, right? So it's super, super important that you pay attention to each aspect of this because as I've studied over the years, I've realized that, you can attack almost any topic and any issue from multiple different directions. And when you do that, you really, really create the opportunities for people to learn based on their learning styles or whatever feels good to them. So I want you to hang in there. I'm going to show you guys some illustrations. I'm going to talk to you about some concepts, some ideas, and some thoughts about this. And I'm trying to approach this from a multi-layered, multi-dimensional thought process that we're going to talk through the next couple of weeks. Today's topic, we're going to get into this concept of payment, this concept of contribution, this concept of being a benefactor or being a supporter of anyone else in any way, shape, or form. How do you do it? And we're going to talk about that from of a couple different aspects. The first way we're going to hit it is we're going to talk about, first of all, before you become a sponsor, a patron, a benefactor, what should you be thinking about and what you should do? Then we're going to get into the benefits of different types of payment. There's different types of ways you can pay for things that you want, or you can invest in things that you want in different kinds of ways. We'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the four principles of contribution. What are the rules? The hard, ironclad rules of contribution that you cannot undo, you cannot change them, you cannot do anything except accept them and understand what they are and how they work. We're going to talk about the neuroscience of giving. What happens inside your brain when you're making valuable contributions to others and you're making valuable contributions to others. And then we're going to talk about some useful exercises that you might use to discover what I like to think is your inner philanthropist, because there's so many different ways you can contribute to the world, so many different ways you can contribute to others. But when you are in control of that contribution and you know what that contribution is, you understand the value proposition behind that contribution, then you are indeed a philanthropist, because you are literally giving more and you're giving out of your abundance than might be required in most situations. And so, and that's a good place to be if you're strong enough to be able to do it. We're going to talk a couple of details about that. Okay. Um, so let's get started. When you ever think about how you're going to articulate the various unique value propositions that you have to investors, to supporters, to clients, to stakeholders. They all need to understand that you're offering your best in the most meaningful ways. And so that you want to set and meet the appropriate expectations authentically, clearly, and consistently. Your ability to do this will make a big difference to your the chances that you will live a life that is fulfilling, a life that is promising, a life that is going to deliver everything you need to deliver. And so before we get started in the topic, I want to make sure I give, my guest coaches a good chance and panelists a good chance to quickly introduce themselves and let you know a little bit what they're all about. And then we're going to chop it up and get right into the meat and the potatoes of what we're talking about today. First up, let me introduce to you the lady who needs no introduction. She is the GI, the host with the most. She is the most valuable member of the team. Madam, the Colonel, I'm gonna call her General. She didn't make it to General, but she ran everything that's important in the United States Air Force for quite a while. Let's talk about that. GI, why don't you introduce yourself to the team? Tell us what you are.
Thank you so much. Hello, LinkedIn fam. Most importantly, community of Coach Marvin Powell. How blessed we are to have such an amazing, great mind. Uh, but most of all, I mean, he's got a great mind, but most people keep it to themselves. They're afraid somebody's going to steal it or pimp it, as they say, but not Coach, not Coach. Coach generously shares his strategies, his framework with us so that we can grow. I'm so honored to be here in his presence. Like I told him, every time I am in his midst, I think higher, I think faster, I think better, and he always brings light to a dark place. So, Coach, it's a pleasure to be here. Blessings.
First of all, we got to tell the audience where you are right now.
I am at Essence Festival with my mini me, my daughter, and we're just having an amazing time. I'm trying to keep up. I told her, give me an hour to hang out with Coach and his LinkedIn fam. And she said, okay, I'm going to get something to eat. So we're having a blast. It's amazing here, my first time.
Man, I can't wait. One day I'm gonna send my girls down to Essence Festival, and they may drag me along with them, but I'm definitely sending them. Sending my wife and my daughter for sure, because I know this is just. I think it's just like the black woman's mecca. You gotta go. At least one time in life, you gotta go, right?
Well, I'll
So
let you know. You'll be in the minority if you come.
I don't mind being in a minority. I know how to handle myself. I know how to handle myself. Okay, let me put you backstage and introduce my brother from another mother, my fraternity brother, my man. He's a gift to so many people out there in the cybersecurity world. I can't wait to bring to the table Mr. Michael Council. Michael, tell us about yourself, who you are, where you're coming from, what you're doing, what's happening.
Hello, everybody. Hey, it's one day after our Independence Day. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and spending time with us. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you for coming. But also, Marvin, thank you for having me on the panel. It is always a blessing to be able to give back and reach out to your audience and giving them little nuggets of knowledge while also gaining large bags of knowledge from you. Thank you so much for sharing your talents, for sharing your stage, for giving me the opportunity to share my talents and my stage. Like you said, Michael Counts from EC Technology Consulting Services. And what we do cybersecurity during B2B engagements, B2C, but we focus on B2G, business to government, and we focus on assisting people with advancing through their business to government and advancing on their CMMC journey. So if you'd like to learn more about that, come see us at eccybersecurity.com. But today I want to sit here and I want to concentrate and talk about some of the benefits of relationships and the benefits of how we're going to get paid, not only in tangible money, but paid by other things, and show how you can leverage that to grow your business and to grow your network and relationships. So I'm just ready to get started. I'm so happy to be in your presence.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. I'm gonna put Mike backstage and we're gonna get this party started. Okay. So when you think, hear, understand what a benefit is, the question is, can you brilliantly articulate what those benefits are? And let me tell you why this is critically important. When you can share with people who should be receiving the benefits of anything that you offer in a way that they're going to be able to receive it and really understand it and really feel it. Here's what happens: they can do, be, or have something more than they could before you arrived on the scene. And so, what I tell people all the time is we have to get good. And there's a sales mantra that I'm going to share with you to get you to have you understand what I'm talking about. But there's something about being able to sell the sizzle and not the bacon, right? Can you articulate the sizzle? Can you articulate the aroma? Can you articulate the feel, the anticipation of what's going to happen before you deliver the product, the service, the thing that you need that you deliver? Because most people, when you ask them what they do, they will tell you a fact or a feature of what they do. They will tell you the title that they have. They will tell you the company that they work for. But in reality, what most people are asking when they ask you what you do, they're asking you all kinds of questions that are not really the question of what you do, but how do you benefit others? How does what you do change, improve, or generate or create opportunity or whatever it is that you do for other people? Now, if you think about it, it's literally thinking about what happens after you do it, after you deliver your product or service. How do people feel? After you deliver your product or service, how do they, how can they be, do, or have more than they had before? You know, what are they now able to leverage and pass on as a result of what you gave, what you contributed, what you set up for them? Because when you're a true benefactor, when you are a true patron, when you are a true sponsor, when you are a true advocate, when you're a true supporter of some concept, some idea, some person, something, right? Or you're offering a product or service to to a company or to an individual, you need to be clear about the benefits that you are delivering. So now, this is where we got to start off. We got to do your homework. How do you know what the real benefits of your offerings are if you don't ask for feedback? If people don't tell you how they're receiving you, how do you know? Of course, you can assume that somebody brought their car in to get it washed because it was dirty. And if you wash the car, it's now clean. They should be happy, right? Well, that's assuming you cleaned it in a way that's going to make them happy. You may have, in fact, cleaned the car to your standard. You may have cleaned the car the way you always clean all the cars, right? But because every once in a while, you're going to bump into these people who are like, well, your standard service, I was expecting more. I'm left unfulfilled. I paid you, you did a service, but I don't really feel better off than before I came in. Maybe a little bit, but I don't really feel like I got an adequate transfer of value for what I got. I expected white glove service. You gave me your definition of white glove service, but what I really got was the cheapo charters regular thing that you do for everybody. I don't even feel special. This is what we're talking about. When you talk about the benefits that you offer, you need to be able to articulate ahead of time so people can go, remember that bacon and sizzle? People can smell it. Go, yeah, oh, I want that. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna need that. Oh, yeah, that's exciting. That's interesting, right? So you need to be able to know what you're offering. Now, how do you know? You got to do your homework. You got to ask the questions ahead of time so that people that you understand what people are really expecting. You're setting the level of expectation by asking the questions about how a person will know that they've actually received the benefits that they're looking for. What will be the indicators, right? And they'll tell you, oh man, I'm looking to do this, that, and the other. And this, if I get this done, if you do this for me, then I'm going to be able to do boom, 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 boom. I call those arrival indicators. How will you know you've arrived at the benefits that you deserve to have or do you want to have, right? And so a good person that's providing thoughts, ideas, benefits of any type to someone else takes the time to discern before they provide the service or the product that the service or the product will be received in a way that the receiver is going to feel like it's a benefit. Somehow they're better. Somehow they're winning. Somehow they feel more. Somehow they accept, because if you don't take the time to find out what that benefit is, you're guessing. And most likely your product or service is going to be just like everybody else's. Not going to be nothing special about it. I promise you, you could deliver the same kind of service that someone else delivers, but if you take the time to listen to the people to whom you provide the services to, and you show them that you understand what they want, what they desire, what they need, when you offer your service, even though it may be materially the same service that others might offer, you're bringing it differently. You're bringing it in a way that they can actually feel the benefit. I hope you guys understand. So think about, I'm gonna give you an example. Think about when you've paid for something and the service provider just blew you away. Expectation over and above what you thought you were getting yourself into. Has anybody ever experienced that? How did you feel? All right. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about more about that, but I want you to keep that example in your mind. I hope you can rock out to that. If you have experienced that, put it in the chat. Just say yes, amen. I get it. I understand in the chat. And so I know you're with me, right? But before you can become a good patron, a good sponsor, a good donor, a good benefactor for anyone else or any system, you really have to know what the sizzle is. Can you describe the sizzle? Can you describe the smell? Can you describe the feeling that's going to happen before you serve up that bacon? Nobody cares about the bacon. They have to be interested in the benefits before the bacon arrives to the table. They have to have a level of expectation. They have to be salivating already. They got to be ready to, when they get that bacon, they go, "Ooh, it's the perfect texture. It's this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. It's all that I wanted it to be and more." Right? That's how you win the kinds of satisfaction and the satisfied clients, the kinds of satisfied investors, the kind of satisfied sponsors, patrons, other benefactors for yourself by delivering and by contributing something to them that is amazing. But you don't know. We all have a different definition of what amazing is to us. And you won't know until you ask us, until you find out ahead of time. Don't just throw a menu together and go, here's your choices. How is that helpful? Burger King, perfect example, out of the gate. What did they sell? Burgers. How did they sell it? Frame boiled, broiled, which was new and different at the time, but your way. You want it with no pickles? Not a problem. You want it with no lettuce? Not a problem. You want it with this, that, and the other? You want to add this to it? Not a problem. Here's and the gift to that whole process back in the day is they dragged everybody else to do the same thing. Now you can go anywhere and get it your way. That wasn't the case before. You got it the way it was delivered. You weren't going to have a Big Mac special made when they first decided that thing, right? This is the way we make a Big Mac, and we're not compromising our integrity about our product just because you want this, that. You may have some allergic reaction. Don't order the Big Mac then, right? That's how it was. It wasn't service your way; it was service our way. So if you think about the benefits that you're offering to the people that are most important to you, whether it's again your investors, your clients, whether it's your the people that you consider stakeholders in whatever it is that you're doing, they need to get the benefits. They need to see the benefits. They need to understand the benefits, and they need to know when you delivered the benefits that yes, this I like it, I want it, I need it. This is special. I appreciate this. Because if not, you're not delivering a win-win opportunity. You're delivering a win-lose opportunity. And you don't want that. You don't want to participate in win-lose arrangements, agreements, or anything like that. So let's talk about the four the benefits of the different types of payment. All right. When you pay somebody for something, I often tell people it's like a vote. When you vote for something, you're saying, I want it, I like it, and I'm willing to transfer some form of value in order to receive it what I'm trying to get. Right. But how many of us are used to paying for the bare minimum? That's it. I just pay for the bare minimum. In fact, I'll check myself out in the checking line. I'll find the discount prices. I'll make sure I run my own tags through my own codes through the computer so I can get whatever discounts I'm qualified for and my membership stuff. I'll do all the scanning and all that stuff. I'll bag my own stuff. I'll take it to the car by myself. I'll make sure okay. When you're used to doing that and you think there's a value, you're going to be happy with the checkout automatic processes and so on and so forth. You feel like you got a great deal. But do you know you're still paying retail prices? Right? You're not paying wholesale prices for that. You pay wholesale prices when you go. You don't even get it off the shelf from the store. You really went to the truck, or wherever it came from to the farm, the factory, and you got it from there. You're getting close to paying wholesale right there. But even then, you can get it with no service, or you can get it with the kind of service that makes you feel good about it. Right? I know people who will go straight to a farm, pick out the cow, right? Have the farmer, or bring it to the butcher and carve up the steak they want off the cow, so they can get the kind of fillet they're trying to get to, or that piece of ribeye they're trying to get. You know, that is for them the height of the food experience, right? There's some people who will be disgusted by the whole process. Like, no, I'm not picking out something and then you're gonna kill it. And no, I don't want that. So you have to understand that all these experiences that you are creating when you make a payment, right? You're accepting that this is the service that I want. And you're telling the person who's providing the service that this is the value I'm willing to transfer for, no matter what the service was. Think about that. What are you voting for? What are you spending your dollars on? What are you contributing to? What are you allowing and basically sponsoring to continue to happen? If you think it's quality and you pay for it, then you're saying, I want other people to experience this kind of quality. If you think it's not quality and you pay for it, you're saying, I want other people to experience the lack of quality that I'm experiencing. Because I don't like it, but it's all that's available, right? Same thing. If you don't do it well, if you don't contribute what you need to contribute to it, if you don't ask for the feedback that you need to ask for to make sure that it's being received in the way you are all at the whim of whatever the masses think that you think you're offering or that you think you're paying for. And it could be all over the place. You don't want to run that risk. Now we find that there's several different types of contributional, or I would say principles to contribution that I'm gonna lay these out on you. If you took a part of the download, and I'll put that in the chat in just a second. If you have gotten a training guide from the original post that we made, then it's still there, it's still available. But in that training guide, we talk about page 5, we talk about the 4 principles of contribution. There are people who give from abundant resources and then they share with others from basically they share them from others from resources that they control, which they can then receive and use or multiply. Right? When you give from abundance, that can happen. That's one form of giving. That's one form of making a contribution. Giving from not your scarcity, your scarce resources, the stuff that you if you give up, it's a suffering, right? But if you're giving or you're contributing from abundance, then you are empowering others to go ahead and take whatever it is you're sharing and multiply. Number 2, you can contribute less than expected, but when you do that, when you contribute less than people expect, whether you're employing somebody and you give them a job, so to speak, and you think that's a contribution, but what happens in that experience of that job, they don't get their needs fulfilled or they don't get things that they expect, then all of a sudden you're fueling resentment. So if you contribute less than expected, you fuel resentment. That's principle number 2. Principle number 3, meaningful contributions always inspire gratitude. Now, there's a trick to that because I know a lot of times you think you might be contributing something of meaning, something of merit, something over to somebody who you say you love. They say they love you when you doing things for them, and all of a sudden they taking you for granted. That thing that you used to love, that you used to give and used to share and used to get that feel good things, and now because you've been doing it all the time, they've grown an expectation for it, and now they're taking it for granted. That happens in the workplace as well. It happens in corporate America as well. It happens everywhere. There's a service provider agreement, right? And at some point, there's not gratitude anymore because you can make a meaningful contribution, but the judgment of whether that contribution is meaningful or not often is how people feel. Are they grateful for it? It's hard to take for granted something that you actually are grateful for, right? Very few people can do that. Oh, I'm grateful, but I'm taking it for granted. Those things don't work well, right? They don't stay in the same place. And so think about that. Are you offering something that now people are taking for granted? Maybe they're no longer paying attention to the benefits that you're actually providing them, and what they're able to do. Are they still being able to do more, have more, or be more because you're contributing the things you're contributing, or are we just on a flat line and somebody needs to bump up the benefit or explain the benefit again or have a come to Jesus about, is this even worthwhile anymore? Right? So number 3 is making meaningful contributions always inspires gratitude. But the caveat to that is over time, gratitude tends to wane. And something has to happen in order to continue that gratitude coming and flowing, right? Number 4, careful benefactors receive lots more than they share. I was just on the phone with a client this afternoon, and I'm so thrilled and so delighted to be able to work with him. Not just because he pays me, because as a coach, I like to put winners on the field. I like to put people on the field of endeavor, whatever their endeavor is, that are going to win. With a little hand holding, a little spiritual motivation, a little, touch of influence that I might be able to share with them. That's all they need to just push forward and win their version of the Super Bowl. I get such a thrill, such a kick. I can do this all day, every day. I have boundless energy for it. So what I'm getting back is a level of connection to who I am, to my contribution to the forward flow of human history, to the world. I'm getting more back than I'm actually giving. Yeah, I'm getting paid well. But the thing is, I would do it for free just for the feeling of being able to share all the things that I get to share and and work with the people that I get to work with. I consider it a privilege and an honor every day to be able to serve the populations that I serve. So let's break down the neuroscience of giving. I don't know how many of you all have understood this, but we've always known that being a giver is a good thing. Historically, biblically, everywhere you go and think about it, we've always known it's good for people to share with people and who need it, people who desire it, people who want it, whatever it is that we're offering, sharing what we're offering and giving to people, especially people in need, is always a good thing. Here's what happens in your brain. In your brain, when you recognize that you've been a benefactor for somebody else, your brain begins to produce serotonin and dopamine. These are the same chemical reactions your brain produces whenever you do something that's fun, that's satisfying, that's wonderful, that feels good. Your brain produces those other things. Now, when people reflect back to you that what you've done for them is wonderful, is brilliant, you appreciate it, they love it, right? All of a sudden now your brain is kicking in and producing another hormone called oxytocin. Anybody know what oxytocin is? Oxytocin is the love drug, right? That is that feeling, that connective tissue between people that that provides a level of intimacy that validates the existence, the very meaning, the very significance, the very relevance of a person. Comes from the sharing and the flowing of serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine with other people and with around other people. That's how you find meaning. That's how you find value. That's how you find connection when it comes to people. But you can't do it unless you're communicating, unless you're talking, unless you're asking, is this okay? Is this right? Getting permission to engage before you go ahead and engage. And in telling them this is what I'm doing, is this working? And constant feedback loop is the way you figure all this out. But if you're a one-sided, one-way street type of provider of anything, and you don't know how other people are truly receiving it because you got your blinders on, my job is to do boom, 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 boom. And you do the thing and you walk away, you walk home, and they keep paying you, so you must be doing all right, right? Come on now. I just demonstrated to you. That doesn't matter how much you contribute and how well you contribute to other people. Eventually, they're going to be entitled by it and start to take it for granted unless they have the kind of personality, the kind of giving heart to constantly remind you that who you are to them is special and what you're doing for them matters to them. And that's a constant communication thing. But we're going to talk about how to receive next week, right? Um, I'm not going to get into all the exercises that are in the training manual because you guys have the training manual. If you don't, I'm about to post it in the chat right now, so you'll get a chance to have that. But there's a ton of meaningful exercises that you should think about when it comes to this whole understanding of payment, contribution, support, delivering service, delivering product, delivering thoughts and ideas that you hope to be beneficial to others that you should look at because those exercises, if you run through them, and I believe the exercises are on page 5, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at what you're already giving. You'll be pleasantly surprised at what you're already delivering when you learn to ask for feedback and literally give people permission to tell you the straight truth. Because it's hard for people not to lie to you, especially people who love you or people who think that without you, they would be losing something. And so they're going to keep stringing you along and making you think that what you're doing is adequate when I might be adequate for them, but it's not hitting the mark that you want to hit, and they're not helping you to do more because then you might or be better because then you might have to charge them more or feel like they would feel like they should pay you more. They would feel unequal. And so, but you got to give people permission to give you the truth and give you that feedback anyway. Because if you don't, then you'll never know the relevance of whatever it is that you're delivering. And you need to know that in order to be able to articulate to new people or to other people who you are and what you're all about. What you bring to the table that's unique and specific. We couch it in marketing terms like unique value proposition or branding statements and things like that. But it really is, what is the true benefit of your contribution? And that benefit needs to be experienced and thought of and heard differently from to if you're contributing to an investor in your programs or your ideas, your thoughts, if you're contributing to a supporter of what you're doing and so on and so forth, they need to hear different benefits coming back to them. If you're talking about stakeholders, they have different benefits for stakeholders. They want different things. They don't want the same thing. So I hear a lot of people in describing what they do, and they sound like a one trick pony. They say the same thing the same way to the same people all the time. All the people all the time. There's no difference. It's like, you're not really paying attention because you aren't making anybody feel special. Everybody feels and hears the same. Nobody wants to be treated the same as everybody else. Everybody wants to be special. And so if you're going to deliver a personal service or you're going to deliver a personal product or whatever, you need to make sure people feel really special about it. Like they got something that's even if you give it the same, even if you gave the same thing to somebody else, they feel special about it. And you have to figure out how to make sure that benefit is transferred. If not, you're replaceable, easily replaceable, because what you have is by definition a commodity. Okay, I'm gonna chop it up with my team. I got Coach, Council back there. He's been throwing notes up there. I see you throwing notes in the comment section and stuff, which is cool, cool, cool. Um, and GI is back there too. So let's start with Michael. You guys got any? Well, we'll start with GI. She got her hat on now. Look at her. Ooh, girl, you got to see this. Ooh, smoking. Yeah,
Hey,
any ideas you want to bring to the table for the
a-
people about benefits and how they should be shared and the smartest way to bring it out?
absolutely. I think I put in the chat, you know, the more you know before, right, leads to a greater score. And I think you are really talking about, taking the time to tailor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Taking the time to tailor your benefit and understand what's important to your client. And I often tell the businesses I work with, just because it's important to you and you're outstanding at it, and just because somebody somewhere in the military or another place thought it was a great thing, doesn't mean that every client, every person you come in contact with thinks that's a great thing. So, a lot of times when people come to me, they'll want to pitch me. They'll say, "Oh, let me pitch you." And I say, "Why?" And they said, "Well, I want to tell you about what I do." And I said, "Why?" And they go, "Well, I want to do business with X, Y, and Z agency." And I say, "Okay, well, I don't have any contracts. So how do you know what's important to me?" My point is, the benefit to me is for me to understand who you are, what you do, right? And gather all that information. I do an interview, almost like a pitch interview first, because that goes back to the more you know before, then that leads to a greater score. That helps me navigate businesses to the right people. And the same thing, they should be finding out, who are they talking to? Am I a decision maker? I'm an influencer. I know a lot of people with opportunities. Just got a call today from someone looking for a company with X, Y, and Z. I do that all day, every day. But if I don't know you enough, I can't make those referrals. I can't make those recommendations. And so it's so important. And I'm going to end with what I said before is the more you know before leads to a greater score or better benefit for the person you're serving. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Don't you go anywhere because I got to ask you a question. Because what you brought up gave me a thought that I often share with people, but you just so brilliantly articulated. It's almost like if you listen to me enough, I'm going to tell you how to sell me. If you listen to me enough, I'm going to, but even more so, if you ask me the right questions, you know, you can pretty much lead me down the primrose path of me saying yes to whatever opportunity that you have because you'll know what to ask me for. You'll know what you can get away with asking me if you ask me the right questions. So people talk to me, it's like they'll tell me some things and they're like, you're like, you know, assuming that I'm not a happily married man, right? Now, when you make that assumption that I'm not a happily married man, right? You could be looking for some things and trying to offer some things that I have zero interest in, right? But when you
Absolutely.
tell, but when you ask me a couple questions, like I see you got your ring on, and all that kind of good stuff. How long you been married? I'm going to tell you in a way that I'm so excited about my relationship. I'm so excited about my marriage. You probably shouldn't offer me something that would not be interesting to somebody who's not excited about their marriage. Right? But if you try to, what you should probably do is then you should dump old girl and you should come do blah 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 blah. You're talking some nonsense to me right about now
I
because you don't
think
even
that
know what I value.
exactly. And oh, by the way, if I'm not thirsty, I don't want to drink. Now, I may want
No,
something to eat, and I
right,
may want, and most people are going to tell you exactly what kind of food or drink they want to eat.
right.
It's not new.
All you gotta
Don't
do is
try to
ask.
give them something they haven't tasted before. You got to give it, you have to give, the benefit has to be, my preference is Caribbean food. Okay, so I'm going to eat, I want to eat that. But then I'm down here in New Orleans, they got a twist on, Caribbean with Korean. I'm like, oh, well, I like Caribbean. I mean, I got to go check that restaurant out because it's already known. My point is, you offer a customer something they already know, they already like, they already trust. And then when you get them where they are at the point where they love that particular thing, then you kind of go and give it that little, Korean twist or Mexican twist. But you can't come in there saying, let me show you Korean, and they don't like Korean.
Look, Mike is back there literally chomping at the bit. I'm gonna bring him on stage. He's back there getting his grub on. But it's so true, and it's a mantra that I have that I should have shared even in this presentation. But you just reminded me of it. If you want to be interesting, you must first be interested in other people. So everybody wants to be interesting, right? But they gotta understand that before you can really be interesting, you gotta be interested. Because the person who's interested, guess what? I'm gonna give you the time of day with your pitch. Because you showed some interest in me. But if you ain't showing interest in me, why am I interested in anything you have to say? Because one, I'm an introvert, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't got time for that, right? Some people will, they want to smell all the flowers and the roses. They want to go all. They want to be. They want to shake everybody's hand. They want to hug everybody. They want to. Not me. If I'm in a moment, that's like I want one or two people in my atmosphere. Other than that, I'm out. Right? I'm not even there. And you have to recognize for our audience who are listening, there are a lot of introverts out there who you're gonna bump into at your networking conferences, at your business conferences, and so on and so forth. They're gonna be the ones that standing in the back of the room studying everybody. looking and seeing what's going on and seeing who's doing what, and they're not in the middle of the room trying to act up. They're not trying to get attention. In fact, they want less attention, right? But those are the same people that if you can win them to whatever your cause is, they will go to the mat for you because they trust you. Mike, I know you got some stuff to share besides that good food you eat, and get out there and you're on mute.
Oops, I'm just talking away too. I'm just trying to spill it and give some of this information. So everything you said was amazing, but I think it all comes down to communication, right? You with your ring and your enthusiasm for your relationship, you communicated that you didn't want none of that funny business, right?
Right,
But also there is communication on the other side on the person that's giving that benefit. In your situation, they may be communicating that they're interested in something by what they wear, how they look at you, their smile, their interaction with you, right? But as
right,
businessmen and business people, we need to be communicating. We need to be on brand, on target all the time. Don't take no time off. The information that you're putting up on your website needs to be strategic. It needs to coincide with the information that you're putting on your LinkedIn. That needs to be the information you're putting out on the panels that you're on, the information that you're putting out anytime you talk to somebody to to fulfill them in their needs, right? So that's the number one thing. So they should know who you are. They should look at you and say, "Man, that's a duck." No, I'm a goose. I'm a
right,
goose.
right.
You should
If I say
already.
I'm a, if I say I'm a goose, believe me,
But how
I'm a
are they going to
goose.
believe you if you're not communicating
Right,
that
right,
consistently
right,
and
right.
strategically through your channels? And then when you get the
That's right.
opportunity to pitch or to talk, at that point you've already laid the baseline of what you do. At this point, you need to show where you bring, what value do you bring to this person you're having this conversation with? What benefit are you pushing to them? Now, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm a cybersecurity guy, right? So sometimes it's often difficult for me to communicate that benefit in a means that they can understand. So it'll be hard for me to get to that gratitude, that benefit, that level of benefit where they're gracious for what I'm giving them. So I have to communicate to them the regulations, right? And I have to bring that to them in a way that they can understand and tie in how this regulation or how this requirement ties in to what you need and what I'm going to give you. Right.
Right.
Sometimes people just don't understand it. So you have to make it sassy. You have to sauce it up. You have to figure out a way, and you have to really, really cable toe and tie that thing in to what they're looking for.
You
So
know, I
that's the
think
challenge.
what I agree with you, Mike. And I think one of the things that I've often had to do, especially when explaining something as complicated as what you're offering, is, and I'm not going to say dumb it down, but give it to them in bites, bite
Mhm.
little mini bites that is much easier for them to digest. For instance, if you tell a person, or just ask the question, are you familiar with regulation XYZ that ties into so on and so forth that will really, really help you understand what this benefit really could mean to a company like you? And they'll probably go, well, no, I really don't. I never, no one's ever really told me that. Would you mind if I share this information with you? In a way, I think it's going to be really valuable to you. Let me let me ask permission to even give them that information, because once they said, yes, I want you to tell me that, now you know for a fact it's going to be beneficial when they hear it. But if you don't ask for permission in that way, you run the risk of pouncing and announcing. That's the phrase I use all the time. People do that in networking all the time. They pounce on you with the information they think is important that you should know, and they want you to feel good about that. It's like, man, I'm here trying to have my drink, or I'm trying to talk to my friend over here, and you come to me with your wild idea because you think for some reason I might be interested because you're talking to anybody, everybody, and you're not talking to anybody meaningful, anybody specific. So you're just going around trying to get attention. That's like a toddler who is like hungry. They don't care who feeds them. They just
And that
hungry.
I'm happy to mention that. That is really, really correct. And I think once you go from one phase of your career or one phase of building your organization, you understand, like you said, you can't feed or look for food in every plate, right?
Nope.
With every collar. You have to, once you start to build out your strategy, you have to be very, very intentional on who you're spending your time on and what information you're giving them. So if I'm spending more time with, say, your toddler or your organization, I need to understand what your organization does. How do you interface with other businesses? What, in my field, what regulations or what you need to be able to build out your organization, take the next step. But like you said, I need to feed it to you. It needs to be good. It needs to be nourishing. So, like you said, I may come at you and say, you know, you've earned that $15 million contract, but you know, to keep that $15 million contract, there may be some things that you need to do on the inside. You need to turn that mirror inwards and look at it from a cybersecurity or a business operations perspective. Because remember, cybersecurity just it fits in, it has synergy with other compliance, measures that we have to fulfill. So just having those conversations and understanding how you fit into the big scheme of things, where they're at in their journey, and how you can help them either maintain or advance in their journey by offering your benefits.
I love, 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 love. And I guess we're all like this. It's like everybody who's an expert at anything could find a way for that expertise to shine everywhere. But it's important. It's an important talent to be able to do. A podiatrist. If you start talking to him about feet, he gonna get excited. You gonna watch his eyes just light up. Like, oh, we're talking about my favorite thing, right? It's because that's the thing I've been studying for all these years. I've been working on for all these years, and finally somebody gonna give me some time to talk about feet. So here we go. But the issue always is when the person is ready to hear about what you're ready to share.
Mm.
There's a moment that you got to be crafty about how to find, because like I said earlier, some people don't want the sizzle, they want the smell. Some people don't want the smell, they want that crunch. you know some people don't want, but if you selling the wrong thing, you selling bacon, like, yeah, I want the bacon, but what I want extra crispy. If you got it extra crispy, now you're thinking about, but if you don't know I want extra crispy, you think you did something when you gave me the bacon. But no,
They
no,
give you
no,
some
it's got to
limp,
be
undercooked bacon. There's some
right,
people who like the bacon. They don't want it crisp. They just
Yep.
want
right,
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
right. And so you got to take the time to even figure out how I want the thing that you trying to sell me. And if you don't take the time to figure out how I want it, even and by the way, I'm a very advocate believer in experts. They do know their business better than the people that buy their services, right? Because if you buy from me, trust me, I know more about what I have to offer than you do. Right? I've been at this for years, right? There ain't no way you gonna out think or out talent me when it comes to coaching. It's just not possible because I'm the expert, right? But here's the thing: if I don't kind of bring my services in alignment with something that you can be excited about and you can be interested in, I'm gonna lose you. And that's because I'm talking about the wrong thing at the wrong time to you. Because you're interested, maybe you want to be an investor in my business, but I'm talking to you like you want to be a client. Everything I'm saying is over your head, right? Or
Mhm.
maybe you want to support me and be a referral source for me, but I'm talking to you like you want to be an investor. because I didn't take the time to find out before I started running my mouth about who you are, what your potential is. I don't have any criteria by who I'm going to talk to. I'm just talking to anybody, everybody. And so nobody can receive the benefits that I have to offer.
So
And that's
just
another.
what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So it's just like, but I'm gonna leave you just one last thing, and then I'm gonna take a little something from GI and tell something from Michael, and we're gonna close it out because we're bumping up against time right now. Um, if you can't articulate the benefits in the way that the people that you need to talk to can understand those things, then you probably need to just be quiet and listen. It'll be better for you than to run off with the mouth, shoot yourself in the foot, and say the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time. Right? You won't have the magic moment. You won't have the benefit transfer if you don't get that right. Okay, Gia, last thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the intrinsic value. I think many of us, and I'm going to say us, because I'm included, we love the feeling of sharing, right? I've got this gift, I've got this thing I want to give to everybody. And that is the part that must be we must become more self-aware, right? In realizing, and I call it paying attention to the nonverbals, noticing when they glaze over or when they shut down. All of those things, because when we go too far, it is because it has become that drug of it. I call it of someone's listening to me. I'm the expert becomes imbalanced and out
Yes.
of order with the benefit in which we're trying to deliver to the person we're talking to. So you
Right.
call it the magic spot, but I really think it's more, and this is something I'm learning, it's more about becoming self-aware that it's not about us, it's about them. The benefit
Yes.
is about them. And when we forget that, that's when we miss it. And then we wonder,
Right.
well, what happened? I gave them everything. They should be so happy to, that I shared this expert opinion with them. And I tell you, I failed at that more times than I care to admit. But as I'm getting better under your coaching and your wise counsel and guidance, this is an area in which I'm seeking to get better. And I thank you for bringing light to that place of darkness.
All righty, Mike. Last chance at the bit, man. What do you got?
Well, I think something you said was very, very important. You said listen, right? My dad used to tell me all the time, God gave you two
Two
ears
ears.
and one mouth. Stop talking so much sometimes and just listen. Listen to what your client is saying. Research your client. Understand what your client's pain points is. And then all benefits between you and your client aren't aren't money, right? It could be expertise. You offer expertise, you gain back expertise. If I'm working with a business operations specialist and I know there's some problems in my business or a coach, I may want to negotiate and say, hey, you know what? I will provide you these services, provide me these services in exchange. So you have to think outside the box. You have to listen and be wary of, tripping over those traps of giving too much information and giving people, as they say, the glassy eye and losing and losing clients because you're giving too much information at the wrong time.
Oh my God. That's the worst. That's the worst when you open up that fire hose and this guy, I can talk to you all day about coaching. I've been doing this thing for 20 something years. I know the neuroscience behind it. I go to ancient philosophers and what they thought about it. I can tell you all about the recent history and what new changes and directions that the greatest organizations are doing in it. It's like, but do you need all that? Probably not. And just because I can nerd out to it and rock out to it all day, unless I'm in a group of coaches and we all discussing this doesn't make any sense for me to share that with everybody. And experts who try to make everybody else an expert around them about whatever their expertise is, How many years did it take you to get all the certifications and get all the experiences and align all the processes and understand the strategies? No one can replace that. So, why don't you just get good, comfortable, take a step back, chill, and go, okay, where am I most needed? What parts of my expertise are most needed at this moment with these people? And if you pay attention, if you're a true expert, you're gonna show up like a rock star every time because you're paying attention before you jump into the deep end of the pool. It's like, wait a minute. I got a story. I'll tell you that story next week. But it's a story about me jumping into the wrong end of the pool, and trust me, I'll never do it again. Right? All right, guys, it was beautiful. Thank you. Hope go backstage for a second. I'll be right with you. I got to close the show out. Um, this is what it is, people. This is Coffee Tea, you and me. Every week, I come to you with some of the greatest people that you could ever and I love them. I love them. These are my favorite people on the planet. I promise you, and I'm not blowing smoke up there. You know what? It's true. I have the best intentions, the best thoughts with the people that I bring to you because I have trust in them. And so I'm telling you, you can trust them too. So if you need to have some information about cybersecurity, you need some information about government contracting, I promise you, you can trust the people I bring to the table. You can trust Brother Michael Council, you can trust GI, and if they could put their information in the chat, that'd be great. That way, it would spread out. If you guys want anybody to contact you, put your LinkedIn profile out there. Whatever you want to do, that's cool. I see Felicia's coming out from Rocky Mountain. That's good, 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 good. I see you, Felicia. Pamela's out there. Oh man, we got some great attendance today. Thank you so much, all my people from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now Instagram. And if you are watching this on demand, don't worry about it. Just keep the chat going, keep the active going, and we're gonna keep the party going with you. All right, we're gonna end the stream and in the show. You all have a good time, and thank you so very much for partying with us. All right, get out of this thing. Here we go. Bye bye.